Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to continue discussing the digestive system. The last time we talked about the digestive pathway, that is exactly the organs through which the food is passing through from our mouth to when we excrete the waste that our bodies does not need. That was the only thing that we talked about. The pathway and the sphincters, that is the flaps that open and close to allow the food to pass through. So today we're going to talk about the nutrients themselves and where they are digested in that pathway, and what are the enzymes that comes in to help digest them. We said the nutrients that are in our food are six of them. In any food that we are eating, these are the six items that we derive from those foods that we need for our body. That's the carbohydrates, the proteins, the lipids, which are the fats, the vitamins, and the minerals and water. These are the things that our body needs. So today we're gonna discuss where the carbohydrates are digested, where the proteins and the lipids are digested, and then the vitamins and the minerals that I'll have to have an order program for that, because those are more comprehensive and they are the micronutrients. So today we're going to deal with the macronutrients, which are the large amounts of nutrients that our bodies need. Okay, so we start with the carbohydrates. You can see here, as I showed you the last time, that these are the high carbohydrate foods. They have a very high amount of sugars and starches in them. This is bread, pasta, rice, spaghetti, and all that kind of food, like potatoes and things like that. Those are very starchy. They have a lot of carbohydrates in them, and our bodies need carbohydrates. So when it starts, when we start to put the food in our mouth, straight away, our salivary glands will release what is called amylase. Amylase is an enzyme that will help to start digesting the carbohydrates. In the mouth, now, nothing else is digested there. Even the carbohydrates are not completely digested in the mouth, but it will start to digest there by the salivary gland amylase. And when you start to chew it, that will just moisture it and make it a little bit of a mush so that it can pass through the esophagus very easily. And there the upper esophageal sphincter will open and pass the food down. So now the food is no more called food. It was bolus in our mouth when it is mixed together with the enzymes, and then now the bolus will pass through the esophagus and will come through the stomach. Now, in the stomach, before the stomach, let us talk about what the carbohydrates do in our body. Why do we need carbohydrates in our body? This is very important for us to know, because this is why we take these nutrients for our bodies to be able to work properly. So carbohydrates are immediate energy sources. Our body uses it readily to create energy. They break down into glucose. Glucose is very important. It's the sugars that are in our blood. If you are a diabetic person, if you test your blood sugar, what you see there is the amount of glucose that is in your blood. That is the amount of blood sugar in your blood, and that is taken from the carbohydrates that you eat. It is readily used by the body cells for energy, and this is especially crucial for the brain, which relies almost exclusively on glucose as fuel. So cars, for example, they use petrol for fuel, they use diesel for fuel, and that is what makes them to be able to move and run around. But our bodies, we cannot drink petrol, we cannot drink gasoline. But what our bodies need as fuel to drive us, to make us work, and to produce the energy that we need is glucose, and its proteins, and its lipids. I showed you the last time the amount of calories, the amount of energy that is in carbohydrates, that is in proteins, and that is in lipids, which is the fats. So this is what our bodies need to produce the energy that makes us work. Carbohydrates also, they produce energy for our daily lives, which I just said. They play key roles in various metabolic processes and they help maintain all overall health and performance of the body. So definitely carbohydrates are essential for the functioning of the body. Okay, so now this is what happens when the food passes through the esophagus and get to the stomach. This is a video showing you how the stomach is churning up the food that has gone in, which is the bolus. But now, as it gets into the stomach and gets churned up with the acid, now it's called chyme. Here, let's say it passes through the esophagus from here and it comes down through the stomach. The lower esophageal sphincter will open. That's the flap that opens and closes to let the food pass through from the esophagus to the stomach. That will close now. And when it closes, the food is now being churned here. And this is where proteins are broken down. Proteins cannot be digested in the mouth, neither can they be digested in anywhere else other than the stomach. They completely digested as well from the at the small intestine. But this is where the digestion of protein starts, because proteins are like this. They are knotted like a knot like this when they are produced. And this is the normal protein. This is how it looks. But in this way, the digestive juices, which is pepsin in here, pepsin is the enzyme that comes to digest it. But before pepsin can do it, the stomach must have to release some hydrochloric acid, very potent acid. The acid will start to break it down. It's just like you put your food in a blender and you start blending it and you start mixing it and you start breaking the food down in the blender. This is exactly what happens in the stomach to blend the food, mix it up with hydrochloric acid so that the pepsin, which is the enzyme that can denature, that is the nature of protein, but you need to denature it, to open it up, open this tangled mess up so that the enzymes can get into all the areas and corners of the protein to be able to digest it. So proteins are digested in the stomach. That is where they start being digested. And this is how they look like when they are natural proteins, and when they are denatured, they are opened up by pepsin. This is how they look like. And then the digestion starts there. So once the digestion is done there, it passes it from the stomach. The pyloric sphincter will open up, which I showed you on the last program. If you haven't watched the last program, I would advise you to go back and watch the last program so you can know these flaps. Because here I'm not dealing with the flaps. I'm just dealing with the digestive enzymes and juices and the nutrients that are digested at every stage. So now, when the pyloric sphincter open, the food, or the chyme, as it is called now, passes from the stomach now to the small intestine. And let us see what happens there. This is the anatomy of the human organs, the human body. And what I just showed you now was the stomach is there. You can see it labeled as stomach, and you have the lungs above it, and under the lungs you have the liver, and under the liver you have the gallbladder. These are the things that are acting. The pancreas is there as well. So the pancreas, the gallbladder, and the liver. Let's go back. The pancreas, the gallbladder, the liver, and the stomach, they are participating in the digestion of the proteins. Now here, proteins and the body. What does proteins do in our body? Our bodies are all made out of proteins. As I have explained in my first series, in one of the first series, I've been explaining how DNA creates the amino acids. That the amino acids, they code for the proteins, and it's the proteins that make the tissues, they make the cells make the tissues, and the tissues make the organs of our bodies. I have shown you where the mutations can happen in the production of these amino acids and the proteins, so that maybe confusion can happen, errors can happen, and you can acquire some some inherited diseases. If you want to look at my inherited disease series, then you can understand what I am talking about here. But anyway, because of our bodies are made out of proteins, we need proteins to help repair our tissues. If you are wounded, for example, if you have a cut, gushing blood and things like that, so when the body is repairing that wound, it needs proteins to go back there and replace the old proteins. The infected ones and the destroyed ones are going to be replaced by new proteins. So they help to repair the tissues in our body, whether inside or outside. Proteins play a vital role in repairing our tissues. So they are also crucial to the growth and maintenance of those tissues. And this is especially important for muscles, bones, skin, hair, and nails. So proteins are everywhere in our body. All living things have proteins in them. The immune system support as well. Protein is very important there. They are integral components of antibodies. Antibodies are the soldiers of our body. They protect us from infections. Anything that is infecting our body, the antibodies that we have will jump in and try to fight that. And once it fights it, it has a record of that so that when that comes back again, it will remember that, whoop, this came back, this came before, and this is how I attacked it and killed it. So it will just attack that again and kill it because it knows what to do. So our antibodies are supported, our immune system are supported by proteins as well. So it helps us from bacteria, from viruses, and from other harmful pathogens because these are the things that invade and infected us. I will do a video of pathogens itself so I can explain how these bacteria, these viruses, and um, these harmful pathogens affect us. So I will do a special video for that to warn people so that they can understand what to take care of and how to look after themselves properly to avoid infections. Now here we are now inside the small intestine. After the stomach has done its job, hydrochloric acid has came up and denature to help to denature the proteins, and pepsin comes in as well and start to digest the proteins there. After it has been there, sometimes food can be in your stomach for at least for about 6 hours, and this churning and breaking down is taking place. That is why when you eat until you're full, you cannot eat again, or you are not hungry, you are not in any mood to eat again because your stomach is full and the food that you ate earlier on is still there being processed and it's not yet passed through the small intestine. So now when the food is now passed through the small intestine, that is here, it comes from the stomach, it comes now to the small intestine. Now here, the body needs help from other organs like the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. I've shown you what the gallbladder is on the previous picture. It's that small little green thing under the liver. The liver makes what is called bile. And when it makes bile, it sends it to the gallbladder as a storage. So the gallbladder will store the bile and it will wait for commands as to when it is to release it. Now it is time for the gallbladder to come into action because the stomach is full of acid where the food has been churned and chopped down into small pieces. When the pyloric sphincters are open and the chyme passes through now into the small intestine where digestion is completely done. Now there it comes with some acid with it because the chyme coming is having acid, and the small intestines have no protection for acid. Like just as I said before, when you have a hard bone, it means it's showing you that there is food flowing backwards from the stomach to your esophagus, and the esophagus is not protected from acid. So that is the hard bone. That what is called acid reflux. So it's a feeling of a hard bone because the esophagus does not have any protection for acid. It's only the stomach linings that are protected, that has the acid protection. The small intestine as well doesn't have acid protection, so it needs help from another organ, which is the pancreas. Now, the pancreas has many jobs to do. It releases insulin, it releases glucagon, and it also releases bicarbonates and many other things. It has pancreatic enzymes as well that it releases. So it does a lot of jobs. But in the digestive system, what we are going to be concentrating in is that the bicarbonates that it releases and the pancreatic enzymes that it releases to help finish digestion here. The bicarbonate, what it does is it neutralizes the acid that comes from the stomach with the chyme that comes down. Because the intestine is not protected, the bicarbonate will come in and neutralize the acid. Bicarbonate is at the lower end of the pH scale, so it is a basic. It is not acidic, it is basic. So when it comes in, it mixes with the acid and neutralizes the acid, so the small intestine is protected. Now, the bile, its job is to bring down the lipids, because the lipids are oil, and oil is hydrophobic. It is afraid of water. When you drop oil in water, the oil will just cuddle up itself and try to run away from the water. It will not mix together with the water. If you can try that and see it yourself, you cannot mix oil with water. If you drop oil in water, it just forms a small bulb on top of the water because the oil is afraid of water. That is what is called hydrophobic. Bile has one end which is hydrophobic and one end which is hydrophilic. A hydrophilic substance is something that can mix with water with no problems. So look at here, for example, in this cup, in this jar, there is water, there is juices there, which is the hydrophilic enzymes. These are the enzymes that can help to finish complete the digestion. They are in a liquid form. So if the oil, that the fat, which is the lipid that comes from the food that you eat, comes into the small intestine, the oil will start to stay away from the digestive enzymes. So the enzymes cannot reach it to digest it properly. So it needs to get inside the digestive juices so that the juices can break that lipid down and use it for the needs of your body. So to do that, bile is coming in to help. So bile will attach itself, the hydrophobic end, because of oil is hydrophobic, it will attach its hydrophobic end to the oil and then attach its hydrophilic end to the digestive enzymes. So it will surround the oil. For example, this is one dot of oil and you see how bile surrounds the oil with all its hydrophobic ends connecting to the oil and all its hydrophilic ends pointing away. So then it will sink the oil inside the digestive juices, and then the digestive enzymes are able to get rich to the oil, to the fats, and then digest them. And this is how the digestive process completes. Right. Here I'm showing you why we need lipids. Why do we need the oil? Lipids are a dense source of energy, which we have shown in our previous lecture. The carbohydrates have about 1 gram. You have 4 kilocalories in 1 gram. Proteins, you have 4 kilocalories in 1 gram. But lipids, you have up to 9 kilocalories. It is double the amount of kilocalories of carbohydrates, and so it's a very heavy source of energy. Lipids, which is the fats, they have a very source of energy, high source of energy, and they help they providing cover to the membranes, to the cell membranes. A cell membrane is, for example, I'm showing the cells as soap bubbles in here. This is soap bubbles. You see the bubble, how it is. That is a membrane that surrounds the bubble. That's a membrane. So this is how our cells are like as well. They are like blobs with covered and enclosed by a membrane, and the fats are there to help cover the cells. They becomes a cushion as well, so that it supports the cell from being damaged. Because you can see fats are very they are very the very source of strength and energy. It is good for the building of the cell membranes. Fats are also absorbed by They absorb also vitamins. When we come to deal with vitamins, I will explain the different kind of vitamins. That one also is going to be a separate topic when we explain all the vitamins which are part of the nutrients that our bodies need, the vitamins and the minerals and water. So you have there are vitamins that are soluble in water and vitamins that are soluble in fat. So the fat soluble vitamins are the vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. They are fat soluble. They dissolve in fat. So that is how they are absorbed. Those the essential nutrients in those vitamins are absorbed by the fat. But there are other essential nutrients that are absorbed by the water in our body. So when we come to the topic of discussing about vitamins, we will differentiate all the vitamins, where you can get them, their sources, and what they do in our bodies. So we can all know how to grab them and how to top them up in our bodies. Because some of these vitamins, most of them I can say, are not made by our bodies. We have to put them into our bodies. So where do we get them from? We have to learn and know where we get them from and what they do in our bodies. Right, to wrap up, as a summary, we have just said there, if you can revise what we have just said, the different organs, which are the pathways that the digestion passes through. We have the target organ as well, and we have the juices that are secreted there to digest and what action the juices do. So in our mouth, we have the salivary glands. The target organ is the mouth. Once you put food in your mouth, the salivary glands will activate and then it will release amylase. So the fluid easy swallowing, salivary amylase breaks down some of the carbohydrates, but not all of it. The complete digestion happens in the small intestine. Then organs of organs, another organ of the stomach, you have gastric glands, which is pepsin, as you can remember. Really, it's released as a gastric juice, but you need a hydrochloric acid to uncoil the proteins because the proteins are knotted and they are coiled up together. So you need acid. The proteins are only denatured by using hydrochloric acids, by using heat and things like that. So here in this case is hydrochloric acid and pepsin comes in to break them down. The pancreas also helps the small intestine by releasing pancreatic juices, which is the bicarbonates, and that helps to neutralize the acid that is coming from the stomach so that it protects the small intestine. The liver also produces bile and send it to the gallbladder, and then the gallbladder will wait for instructions when it's needed to release it. And then the intestinal glands, the small intestines have some intestinal juices, and those juices continue to break down the carbohydrate, the fat, and the proteins. If I could show you back again here, what I showed here was sorry, what I showed here was a camera being pushed through the small intestine, and you can see the villi. These are the hairy like things inside the small intestine, and this is where it absorbs the food that is passing through it. They are all absorbed here, and the nutrients are all absorbed here and ready to be passed over to the body. It is to be collected now by the blood, and that is what the transportation part of the digestive system is going to talk about. Here we've already spoken about the food being digested and broken down, and now we have to talk about how that food is picked up from the small intestines and then transported across the body to be taken to all different parts of the body. So thank you very much for viewing. I hope you understand the digestive system more better now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and please subscribe because the subscription, as I said, helps to boost the channel in YouTube. That is a great help. I would really appreciate from you guys. Till next time, we're going to discuss about the transportation system, how the nutrients are transported from the small intestine to the rest of the body. Thank you very much for listening.